Frank, obviously yesterday we see the news that Chris Eubank Jr. Will fight for the IBO title against Quinlan next year. I believe it's February the 4th on ITV box office. First of all, your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts that ITV are back in boxing is fabulous. I mean, that's great for boxing. My thoughts on Eubanks. Didn't want to fight Billy Joe. Didn't fight Golovkin. Didn't fight Tommy Langford because he felt he was too dangerous and he may do him seriously harm. All boxers at that level. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure he made a written statement saying he's such a devastating fighter that the fight guys of Tommy Langford, who's I think ranked about number 3 in the WBO at the moment, for the title would be terrible. And he's every fight's got to be a step forward. And he's now fighting this guy. What's his name again?
Quinlan,
who's 11-1, I understand. And in fact, we offered him the opportunity to fight Virginder Singh for this Saturday at least a couple of months ago, and he never even responded, came back to us. But there he is, 11-1 from Australia, household name in Australia. I don't know if he is anyway, but there he is, and now everyone's being conned. Pay-per-view. I mean, please, they should pay you to watch that. How can Eubanks be taken seriously? It's ridiculous. How much are they giving the fans to watch that? I wouldn't put that fight on an undercard. 11-1. It's a disgrace. It's conning the public. And like I've said for ages, the old man we know is a con merchant in how he cons the public of all these statements he makes about his son. The son must be in on the act. Won't fight Tommy Langford because he was too lethal and he may do him serious damage. Well, what's this fella done to deserve being punished by him? This 11-1 fighter. And you look at the fella's record. I mean, please, who's kidding who here?
Obviously, it's the IBO title,
right.
which is on the line.
Yeah.
Which Chris Eubank wrote a statement yesterday to say he's happy to be fighting for his first world title. We know that a lot of champions in the past, i.e. Klitschko, etc., have held that along with other titles, but some people don't regard that as a legitimate world title. Is that fair to say?
Well, an 11-1 guy fighting for the world title tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? I mean, forget about that. Eubanks has got a good record as to fight for a world title, but how can this other guy be a legitimate challenger? Was it a vacant title?
I don't know if he's the holder. I'm not too sure on that. He may
well,
be the holder.
He's the holder in 11-1 and knocked out by a guy who had 8 fights a few fights ago. I mean, please, this is it's just ridiculous. I just hope that ITV, I don't know who's advising them on boxing, but whoever it is, this is a piss take of the fans. Pay-per-view. You pay a penny for this, you've got to be off your head. You pay a penny for it. I mean, it's a disgrace. There are great fights out there that could take the opportunity to do that. People who are not with Matchroom or with us who could take advantage of that, and they're putting that crap on. Do me a favour. What prices? What are the bookmakers making that fight?
I haven't seen, to be honest.
I should think he's 200-1 on. I'll give anybody. They want to have a bet with me. I'll give them 200-1. They can have 200-1 that he'll win the fight, which ain't Quinlan. There's good odds. Whatever. I bet the bookmakers are making 20-1. They can have 200-1. He's got 0 chance of winning the fight. It's a joke. Pay-per-view.
Frank, with you being knowledgeable in the pay-per-view business side of things, how many buys would you anticipate that doing?
Well, look, first of all, you've got to look at, ITV are a terrestrial channel. This is another channel they've set up for pay-per-view. So they're going to market this fight, obviously, on ITV1, so they've got a big audience to sell and to make aware that it's on, and some of these people might be gullible and may buy this garbage, but they'll obviously do the undercard old thing on ITV4. I don't know how it works out, but it's a garbage fight. It's a garbage fight. Don't charge fans for this fight. It's wrong. It's wrong. This is not a good advert for what the state of British boxing. British boxing is in a healthy state. This is not a good advert for our sport. Not at all. This is a joke, and it's a joke that anyone would part with 1 penny, even buying a ticket, to a man who, and I'll repeat again, would not fight Billy Joe Saunders, calls them all out, would not fight Golovkin, both 2 contracts there. And Tommy Langford won't fight him because he cause him serious problems to his health, and he's very wary about the damage that will happen with fights. But he'll fight this fella, go on pay-per-view. It's a con man.
Well, like I said, it's great that ITV are back in the sport,
Yeah.
but the pay-per-view element starting off with this is yet to be seen how that will go.
You know, listen, and I've got to tell you something, pay-per-view, thing is as well, you keep having all these pay-per-views, it kills the sport in some ways, because it's maintaining the standard. I can remember going back to the Sky days where there was a lot of pay-per-view on and they had a couple of dodgy fights on there. That fight, remember Audley Harrison fight, wasn't a good fight, and they bailed out. And what their model is at the moment, seems to me, is Sky, is obviously they're having serious cutbacks, they're laying staff off all over the place. The Sky Sports subscriptions have dropped. The actual sport in the last 4 years have dropped, I understand, by at least 25%, so I'm told. And if that is the case, they have to make as much money and get as much money as they can to buy it for the football, because it's football that drives it all. It's football that drives nearly all the sport in this country, and they need the money for that. So if you have a couple of dodgy pay-per-view shows, and let's get it right, the pay-per-view show that Sky did this week was a joke. The content of it, you look at it and think about it. I mean, how was Molina and Joshua a pay-per-view fight? Being really honest about that. No one could tell you. Everyone knew what the result was going to be about that. That was a foregone conclusion. And what saved them, that was a fantastic fight and a real good old domestic dust-up between White and Chisora, which I thought, by the way, Chisora may have won. But even then, that's not pay-per-view, is it? These guys are, one got beat by Joshua, Dylan White, and Chisora got comprehensively beaten by Tyson Fury. And when you look at it then, now the next thing we're going on to, we're being sold, and I don't understand this in some ways, and it's not, a lot of people think it's sour grapes, because we were forced into a rematch with Klitschko and Tyson Fury before Tyson's problems. And we were forced into that because his management, in their wisdom, signed a rematch clause to fight Klitschko, which I would never have done if I'd have been in that position. But Tyson comprehensively beat Klitschko. I mean, everybody knows that, don't they? Absolutely beat him. So Klitschko suddenly is fighting for a title, having been comprehensively beaten. And by the time he goes into this fight, he's 18 months since he had a fight. And everyone's going crazy about it. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I don't get that at all.